So we're here with Taylor Clark. Welcome to the Butternotes Coffee Chats, is what I'm calling it.
Well, wonderful name, wonderful place,
Thank you.
great cafe.
Yeah. Thank you for coming abroad and coming on board and sharing your story. Um, can I ask, how did you first get into comedy? What was kind of the angle for you?
Well, I wanted to get rich. It's just a gold rush right now in
God.
stand up, always has been. And I was like, how do I get the minimum effort, maximum reward opportunities that there are out there? And stand up comedy seemed to be like the way to go. Uh, no, I always wanted to do stand up, and I tell most people who've ever wanted to do stand up, especially after having done it for a long time, is if you've ever wanted to do it,
Yeah.
you should do it because most people, it's the last thing they would ever want to do. Like
Hmm.
public speaking is the number one greatest fear over death. Most people would rather die
Yep.
than stand up in front of people. So I was already broken. I was already like, I want to do this. I'm one of these fucked up people who actually looks forward to getting up on stage in front of people. So
Yeah.
I always wanted to do it. And so when I was 21 years old, I was like, there's a comedy club, there's some open mics.
Okay.
I went to one or two open mics. I was like, well, I'm not going to be the worst one here because people were so bad. You were looking at me like, why is that? Because people were awful. It was an open mic, meaning
Sure.
open to literally anyone off the streets
Yeah.
who's broken and wants to try this, like me. So I saw a bunch of people do really bad, and I was like, all right, I should at least start trying. And
Okay.
that's kind of how I got into it.
How did you build that first material?
Good question. I built my first material by watching a ton of stand up and trying
Uh-huh.
to figure out what I was going to do that hasn't been done already.
Okay.
And it was pretty immediately obvious that I was 21 when I started.
Yep.
So I was like, if I'm going to be original, I gotta kind of talk exclusively about my life so that
Yeah.
I can ensure that no one else has ever talked about this before. So I
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of tried to tell like specific stories about my life that seemed like things only I had lived.
I see. And I did do some research. I checked out your website, and it seems like you have a lot of tie-in to skateboarding.
Hmm.
And because we're in Everett, like we kind of have to talk about Everett skateboarding culture.
I'd
Like,
love to.
what's that like now, and what was it in the past, and how has that changed?
Yeah, for sure. So, I grew up in Everett. I grew up skating around here. I lived
Yeah.
on Airport Road in
Okay.
99, grew up skating at the Everett skate park on Casino Road. So, I've seen some things. If you know that area,
Yep.
you know what I'm talking about. But back then versus what it is now, back then skateboarding had like one skate park.
Hmm.
Everett Skate Park was one of the first skate parks in Washington. If you really look back
Oh, no
on the
way.
history of skate park construction, so it was like a real hub for not just like skateboarding in Everett, but like skateboarding in the Northwest because it was one of a short list of skate parks that existed in the entire state of Washington. So people came from all over to skate it,
Okay.
and I grew up skating there. So I grew up just like meeting tons of people and having this huge community that was like kind of spread all over the Northwest.
Yeah.
And it was really, really special time. And now skateboarding is so popular, it's like literally in the Olympics and stuff. Like I've been
Yep.
skating for like 25 years. So it's so widespread. There's so many skate parks that if you go to Everett Skate Park now, it's just like two scooter kids and someone having a picnic on the middle of on the pyramid. And so you don't know, like, it feels like skateboarding is bigger than ever, but it's also gotten like really small at the same time because it's
Okay.
like so spread out and insular.
I see. So has it kind of expanded commercially, and then now it's retracting a little bit in terms of like people want to find their like niche subculture around skateboarding?
Very
Because
much. Yeah. It's
yeah.
like splintered in a million ways. And it's always kind of been like that. Like
Okay.
skateboarding has always had, if it were music, you'd call them genres, but
Yeah.
in skateboarding, they're like, subgroups of subgroups that are like into a certain kind of skating or fashion or music or
Mm,
but for the most part we all still skateboard.
I see.
So in a kind of like big scale on a in a you know if you really stand back and look at skateboarding and what it is now, it seems like it's bigger than it's ever been. But at the same time, like there's a lot less companies, there's a lot less skate shops, and
Mm,
even though there's a lot more people into it, it seems to be kind of like, yeah, regressing.
I see. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm trying to bring jazz into Everett,
Love it.
and I think it's a little bit difficult for me because Everett has this punk rock metal culture.
Hmm.
Have you seen kind of that music scene relate and connect with skateboarding culture in Everett?
100%. I mean, like, there's a lot of crossover in these cultures in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like DIY anti-authority attitudes
Right.
exist in music and skateboarding,
Yep.
and so there's always been that connection there. Not
I
to
see.
mention, like in skateboarding, our greatest contribution to culture is the skate video. That's where it
Mm,
all kind of stems from. All of our culture anyway, and the skate video is nothing without music. So
right.
obviously, people, you know, skateboarding has been responsible for giving exposure to like so
Okay.
many different bands, but also just like genres of music.
Yeah. Well, how did you tie skateboarding into comedy then? Because they're two different disciplines. Like, I kind of see there's some improvisational elements, but those are within, you know, those two topics individually. Like, how did you manage to tie it together?
I started trying to tie skateboarding and comedy together pretty much as soon as I started.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I've been doing comedy for almost 20 years. So
Yeah.
within like the first couple of sets I ever did, I was eventually talking about being a skater because I was trying to draw from my lived experience. And I'd been skateboarding most of my life. So
Mm-hmm.
that was my whole vibe.
I see.
And it wasn't until I'd been doing comedy for a long, long time that I was trying to figure out how to put myself out there
Yeah.
as a professional stand-up comic, like build a
Yeah.
brand, do social media, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And I had these jokes that I've been kind of working on for years that were like about being a skater. And I was like, well, if I could paint my dream lifestyle, if I could paint the exact picture of what I want my life to look like, my day to day would be like skating and doing stand up comedy.
Yeah.
So I was like, if there's a way to like build any kind of living off of that, even if it's not that much,
Mm-hmm.
that's the lane I want to be in. And so I started essentially the first jokes I put out from my album were about being a skater. And I just tried to tell all my skater friends and people I knew to like share it.
I
And
see.
then it just kind of like took off after
Gotcha.
that.
And you mentioned sharing, like, as a comedian, is it easier now to get off the ground now that there's so much social media happening, or is it harder? Like, what's your experience like there?
I mean, that's the hot topic. That's what every comedian's talking about right
Really?
now is just like
Okay.
how different it is from, how it used to be. And
Yeah.
so I only know it in kind of its modern style.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was coming up, there was like a process for how to become a headliner.
Mm.
And that's kind of what every comedian is shooting for is to be able to like be the guy at the end, be the guy who has fans that people buy tickets for and like close out the show.
Yeah.
And you used to have late night credits that comedy clubs could market you as legitimate. So because if you had TV credits, then you put in the time, like you went through all of these gatekeepers to get to a
Okay.
place where you could be on David Letterman or Conan O'Brien or something like that.
Yeah.
So, everyone would be, you know, feel good about their ticket purchase that night in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago or wherever,
Right.
Detroit, and they can come see a headliner who'd been on TV and could do an hour of stand-up comedy. Whereas now, none of that matters. You just need a fan base that you built online.
Yeah.
So if you can build a fan base online, pretty much like any comedy club is like, well, they can sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So let me take a chance on them and see what happens.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, comics who've been doing comedy for 20 years don't know how to transition into this new state of being. And then the comics who have been born into this state of being don't honestly know how to like really headline. A lot of them, they don't know how to actually like do an hour of stand up that is excellent.
Mm.
And so because of that, a lot of them burn out after one or two tours
Mm.
because it's like really hard actually. Like it takes a lot of time and you got to like really want it to
Yeah.
like live this life. So it's crazy out there right now.
I see. Yeah. Um, I think jazz has similar tie-ins because it is a show business, and I
Mhm.
think people do get burned out quite easily
Mhm.
because you can very well easily say, "I want to play jazz," and practice your heart out, and
Mhm.
then when you try to make money out of it and make a living out of it, it's a totally different sport. It's a totally different game.
It kind of takes the fun out of it. When you're just trying to make art,
Yeah.
making art is so much fun.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to get better and find your voice. And
Right.
then once you finally do, or maybe you never do, but you're ready to transition into trying to like actually make money or make a living or pay bills with it,
Hmm.
well, then most of your day is actually like not making art.
It's the logistics.
It's just administration.
Okay.
That's what I'm always talking about. It's like I signed up to be a comic and I'm a secretary.
Yeah.
That's really all I do all day is like edit video and send emails and run a calendar and do
Okay.
budgets and it doesn't and then by the time I get on stage I'm like, "Oh, I actually like this part."
Yeah.
I spent all day doing stuff that like I tried to escape by getting into stand-up comedy. I didn't
Right.
want to do homework. That's why I didn't like school in the first place. And now I do homework all day
Yeah. I feel you.
just so that I can get up there in front of a few people and tell
Yeah.
my dick jokes or whatever.
I think I incorporated the jazz element here because I wanted to play jazz,
Yeah.
but
You're selfish.
it became a business for me.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of shot myself in the foot. Like I
Uh-huh.
just want to play jazz.
Uh-huh.
But
Turns out you have to run a cafe to play jazz.
yeah, like I got a book and people have to be professional on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
The money isn't like fully there. But fortunately, I'm looking to partner with some nonprofits so that we can start to pay out artists a little bit more than what we currently are.
That's great.
Um, but
Because you can't do it just based on ticket sales.
yeah, because people are looking for, I don't know, man. Like we charge $15 to $20
Mm-hmm.
tickets. We've gone, if it's a 5-person act,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to charge a little bit more. So like $20 pre, and then 25 at the door.
Right.
That ain't. I'm slinging coffee out here.
Yeah.
Like I'm I and the cafe itself is small.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if there are more seating, like it'll make a little bit more fiscal sense.
Uh-huh.
But I purely started this for the passion of
Sharing jazz
yeah.
with the world.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
But like a lot of like 100% I would say is administration right now for me because like I'm trying to book folks weeks out, months out in advance,
And then
and
you have to run the cafe too.
yeah.
Are you doing all of that on your own?
Well, I have a a team of 5 that work with me,
Okay.
but I'm pretty
Just
much
keeping all your inventory together and
yeah.
staffing and managing the staff and everything.
Right. I'm also on the floor. Like I try
Mm-hmm.
not to be because I can't really think after that day ends.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just done for the day. But when it comes to like the jazz, like I'm basically doing all of it when it comes to like booking, scheduling, payout,
How
all of
many
that
nights a
stuff.
week do you do jazz here?
So we do once a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We we're trying to fit the market demand, and I don't think people really know about our cafe like fully yet.
Uh-huh.
So maybe if people know more about us, then the jazz tickets and the jazz demand will increase.
For sure.
But we're trying to play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do once a week to start, and then
yeah,
yeah, hopefully you can grow it from there.
yeah. I mean, like even 5 months ago, it was like once a month.
Oh, okay. So you've scaled up from
Yeah,
once a month to every week.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
Well, that's huge progress.
yeah, yeah. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Um,
What do you play?
I play keys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Very
So,
cool.
well,
My dad is a bass player. He plays jazz. He play
nice.
upright, electric. I always call him like a sellsword from Lord of the Rings. Do you know what a sellsword is?
Mm-mm.
It's basically just like a hired
Oh,
soldier who is
okay.
like no loyalty to any flag, you know? And that's my
Yeah,
dad with music, where he's like,
nice.
point me to the like stage. I don't care what genre it is. Like,
Yeah.
count me in. Like,
Okay.
I can keep up. And he's been all over the world playing, and
Wow.
very proud of my dad. But he's always very jealous of me as a comedian because we live basically the exact same lifestyle, where I go up and entertain people at night, but I don't have to split my check with anybody. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
lug any equipment anywhere.
Yep.
I don't have to sound check like
That
it
big ass
and
space.
rehearse, rent space, nothing. I just have to go up at open mics in front of nobody for 10 years. So slightly different sacrifices.
Yeah, man. I do want to get back into your comedy. So when you can you just tell me like with Everett, like where are the places to do open mics at, and what's your recommendation, like if someone wanted to take a stab at it,
Yeah.
what would you recommend?
So amazing question, because everyone always wants to know this, and I
Yeah.
find that the advice that people give about how to get into stand up um, can be really misleading.
Mm,
So for the most part, there are two lanes for how to get into stand up, whether you're in Everett or whether you're in any other part of the country.
yep.
And the first lane is the main lane, which is you have to just go to open mics. In Everett, there's one at Tony V's every Monday. It's been going on for almost 10 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It is an established open mic where there are tons of people, there's real audience members, a lot of comics go there. It's
Yep.
super fun. For the most part, if you want to do stand up, that's like the number one place to start. And in Everett, it's at Tony V's, I would
Okay.
say. There's a couple other open mics I think that were happening around Everett, but they kind of come and go. They last for a couple months, or
Mm-hmm.
they go away. But even just having one weekly open mic is really good. There's also the Everett Comedy Night at the Historic Everett Theater with Corey Michaelis. That is amazing. They do that once a month, if not a couple times a month, and there's lots of good comics that come through that
Mm-hmm.
venue as well. So you can just go there to like see amazing comedy right here in Everett. That's
Yeah.
like top notch, like high quality A list comics.
Mm.
And the other lane, if you want to start doing stand up comedy, is you take a class. But
Mm.
even if you take a class, it's not going to do anything for you unless then afterwards you go to open mics and you
Yeah.
start polishing that material and trying to go to shows and meet people and network. So no matter what, you have to do open mics to start doing stand up comedy. No
Gotcha.
shortcuts.
What's the with the classes like? Well, how does that work?
So I actually teach a comedy class.
Okay.
I've been teaching a stand up class for 4 years.
Awesome.
And thank you. I really like it, honestly. Like if I hadn't have taught it, I don't know if I'd have ever given comedy classes their due credit,
Mm.
because there is something to really be said about the kind of person who, instead of just coming in cold and doing open mics, wants to at least have some sort of structure to how they learn about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what happens at a comedy class. You get a little bit of vocabulary, and you get practice going through the process of writing a joke, getting on stage, practicing it, getting feedback, making an edit, getting back on stage, trying it again with some slight changes, and then putting an actual set together. And in a comedy class, you get a graduation show where you get to invite all your friends and family to come watch you do stand up.
Nice.
And it's a really good way to get addicted to stand up because you go up at a show and most people do pretty well at their graduation show
Mm-hmm.
because the audience comes in with a really low expectation.
Yeah.
The crowd comes in like, how good could this possibly be? In fact, I'm full on ready for it to be awful and me to have to just smile at my cousin after this and go home and make fun of them for the rest of my life. Like, that's what everyone's expecting. And then the class comes up with like actual prepared material that's like
Yeah.
funny. And so the audience's mind is blown and then they react accordingly. And so it's like the hottest audience ever. I usually do a set at the end of every one of my graduation shows for my classes,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because that's just some fucking hot stage time. You know,
Yeah.
like I want to get up there. This isn't fair. These guys have been doing stand up comedy for a month. I've been doing comedy for 20 years, and I've never gotten laughs like this. Like, am I even capable of doing as good as this guy who's been doing it for 1
Right.
month? So, anyways, the graduation show's really fun. After a lot of comics do it, they're like, "Oh my god, I really want a piece of this." And so they'll go through a lot of open mics, knowing that like one day I'll be back up on a big stage in front of a big crowd, feeling that juice again. You know?
I see. Yeah, I feel like as jazz musicians, we kind of need to also, as like, if you're leading a quartet or if you're leading a group,
Mm-hmm.
you have to make people laugh to a certain degree
Mm-hmm.
because there is like that entertainment factor.
Yeah.
uh,
How do you make people laugh with jazz?
no, it's like the in between monologues.
Uh huh.
Like, okay, so say you go from
So you actually have to crack a joke?
dude, I think you have to. You-
Yeah.
I well, you want the audience to be engaged, but then if you just say, okay, this song, we just played this song, it was written by this person, and now we're gonna play this tune.
Right.
Like, there's
You got to
no,
make it say something a little silly, like, "Oh, he really took it too far on that last
yeah,
piece," you know, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he kind of did.
right. Like there needs to
He
be,
always takes it too far. That guy."
yeah, there needs to be some push,
Yeah.
push and pull between the artists,
Uh
and like
huh.
the audience has to recognize what is going on, like where that is. So like that open form of communication is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there should be a class for that.
And it breaks the tension. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. And you
Co-
got to have somewhat like instincts, some sort of comedic instinct to like,
yeah.
even as a jazz musician, like know how to segue between songs
Yep.
and break that tension a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, in my class, I always ask the people taking the class, like, why are you taking this class? Because sometimes I want to be able to I want to curate the class for whatever the, individual needs are
Hmm.
of each student, right? So
Right.
I'm not going to tell you how to write like these, one-liner jokes if you're just preparing a best man speech for your brother's wedding,
Oh, do people go for that?
Yeah, or like if I'm
Okay.
just like, I want to learn how to be funnier between, songs at my jazz concert.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm like, all right, well, then when I'm giving you notes, I'm going to make sure to like curate them for what your goals are in
Oh,
comedy or whatever. And I do have those people who come in and they're like, I'm doing, I do improv. I'm just trying to learn more about joke structure or something like that. And I'm like, all
right.
right, cool. So for the most part, stand up is good for all of that kind of stuff because just the process of like trying to write a joke builds your like instincts for what is funny,
Okay.
right? Coming out of your mouth specifically. Because what's
Mm,
funny for you is not going to be funny for me. You
right.
saying something is going to sound different than me saying something.
Yep.
So I can tell you how I write jokes, but then you need to practice how you write jokes so that you know what's funny for you, right?
Right.
And so whether you're preparing a bass man speech or learning how to segue between jazz songs, it's going to be really, fruitful for you to just like practice writing jokes, getting up on stage and trying them a few times so that the next time you're up at your jazz show trying to segue between songs, you're like, normally when I say dirty stuff, nobody likes it. So I'm going to not say anything about butts. between
Mm,
songs, and then that way you never do that again. And so your segues are is a little bit like, you know, more curated to your special voice.
I see. I see. Um, let's go back to Everett for a
Sure.
hot second. So there's like with with jam sessions, I think that's kind of the one-to-one equivalent of open mics in
Mm-hmm.
comedy. There's like culture in that, and like
Mm-hmm.
it can sometimes be cutthroat and competitive. Um, on the West Coast, maybe it's a little less because things are a little bit more relaxed here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to that culture in open mics? Like, are people friendly or are they like, get out of here, man? Like, you
I
ain't cut
guess it
out for
depends
this.
on who you talk to. Like the people who've been kicked out of the scene would tell you one thing,
Okay.
versus the people who've had success in it. I think for the most part, and I come from the skateboarding world, so I can tell
Yeah.
you how that subculture is versus the stand-up comedy subculture. I've worked in business, so I know how cutthroat it is in the corporate world
Mm-hmm.
and the real estate world, and
Right.
it's all of it is competitive, right? We live in America, for God's sakes. Like everyone's trying to get to the top.
Mm-hmm.
But at least this is why I justify stand-up comedy, because at least in stand-up comedy, we're laughing all night. So it's as like cutthroat and competitive as I think any industry, really. But at
Mm,
least with us, like we're cracking jokes the whole time. It's like at least we're like physically enjoying ourselves
yeah.
most of the time when you're actually like engaged in the work of it.
Uh-huh.
Even though like I said, once you get to the actual professional level, it's all
Yeah.
administration at that point.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
because like everything is so fleshed out, probably, right? Unless you,
Act wise, like the
yeah,
act wise, no,
yeah.
I mean the complete opposite actually.
Okay.
Because when like leading up to becoming a headliner, like you're working all of your material out so much that
Yeah.
like to build that first hour, like there's a big chunk of that material that is tried and true for years, sometimes decades
Mm-hmm.
longer. And so but then after that you're trying to build like another act,
Yeah.
so then you like basically have to start over, but you don't have a decade to work it all out. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a constant like I work harder on material than ever probably,
Okay.
but it's not as it's not the full focus like when you start. Like it's like I just trying to get up on stage. I send a few emails to try to get booked here and there, but
Yep.
for the most part I'm like I'm working on my act. I'm going up at open mics to work on the act and find out if these jokes work. So you're
Mm,
kind of obsessed with that. Whereas then like after you start headlining and it becomes your job, like your comedy brain starts to compartmentalize into all of these other different you know,
whoa.
like offices, where like this office is writing jokes and then this office doing social media and this
Yeah.
office is like working on tours and calendars and,
Uh-huh.
that kind of stuff. And then so it's just, I don't care how well you prepare for that to be the case. Like once you finally get there, it just becomes lonely because you're not like
Mm,
hanging out with your friends working on jokes all the time. You're like on the road or by yourself, like working on
mm,
career stuff, administration, essentially.
I see. When's the last time someone got kicked out at 20 V's?
I don't know, man. I probably me. I haven't been there in a while. I don't think I'm allowed back. So let's say a couple years ago, me.
Nice. Um, do you have any questions for me as
Yeah,
far
dude,
as
tons. So, first off, how long have you owned this cafe?
so it's a little over a year, I would say,
Okay.
like a year and a half. It took
Congratulations, you made it through that first year.
thanks.
Long lease.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
I would say so. But it was just brutal to just because I was working two jobs.
Okay. What were they?
I was in tech
Okay. Doing
and
what?
software engineering.
Okay. Software engineer. Quit your job in tech to open up this cafe.
Well, I was doing both.
Okay.
And
You were working in tech
yep,
and opening this cafe simultaneously.
yep.
Okay, but it wasn't open yet.
It wasn't open yet.
Okay.
Well, it was open, but under a different name.
It was a cafe before this.
Yeah, it was a coffee shop before this.
Okay.
It looked
They
totally
did not do
different.
jazz.
Didn't do
Yeah.
jazz.
A
It
jazzless cafe.
it was it was a it was a Christian themed cafe, and
And now you play the devil's music. How do you
yeah.
think God feels about that?
Hopefully he looks he thinks it's a good thing that we're doing when it comes to community engagement, but I don't know. I'm not Christian, so it's well,
Well, I'm a big Satan guy, so I like
so
what you're doing here. No, I'm joking.
we'll see when I
Yeah.
well,
When you get to those pearly gates.
yep.
Um, well, I have my hat's off to you, and I think
Thanks.
you'll make it through. But so you've owned this cafe for a year and a half. You were working as a software engineer, and then you
Hmm.
opened the cafe. And were you
Smart move.
smart? But you kept working
Yeah, and then I got burnt out.
of working both things, trying to
Yeah,
open a cafe and work
yeah,
your software engineering
yep.
job. So then were you making enough with the cafe that you were able to quit your engineering job?
No, it was like an emotional decision. Like my
Mm-hmm.
body couldn't handle
Okay.
the two jobs. So what I ended up doing was I had to let one thing go.
Mm-hmm.
And looking in hindsight, it would have been much wiser to just keep that tech job.
Sure.
But
You just physically weren't able to do it.
yeah, yeah. And I
Okay.
think I had like because this is like something that I've created.
Mm-hmm.
I've already like had so much attachment to this place.
Right.
Like it's hard to let that go. It's
Of
kind of like
course.
having a baby, and um, yeah, it was an emotional call.
Wow. To keep this going, quit your job so
Yeah.
that you didn't lose your baby and you could keep your mental and physical health.
Yep.
Okay, so it seems like probably wasn't that hard of a decision. You didn't like your job, but you had to pull back on your lifestyle. Did you have to like cut your expenses down quite a bit?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to move places? Did you have to
Well,
sell
I'm
your
living with my
house?
parents right now.
Oh, okay. Oh,
You're
you're
that's an
doing it,
expense
baby. That's
cut.
awesome. I mean, I literally went through the exact same thing when I left New York. I quit my real estate job. I
Mm,
went here to open up an office. I was living at my parents' house
yeah.
trying to open up a real estate office. My parents were, luckily like barely able to afford the space to put us in there with me, my wife, and my son.
Oh,
It was
wow.
supposed to last for a few months. Anyways, we lived there for like 3.5 years.
Mm,
After the real estate company collapsed, and I started doing comedy and my wife went back to work, we had to like completely like build ourselves up from scratch, basically.
okay. So, what did your wife say when you said you're gonna go into comedy after?
No.
No. And how did you overcome that? Or how did you negotiate
Still
with
working
that?
on it.
Okay.
So I basically was like, I don't have a choice. It was like something I didn't even want to do. It was something that I felt like if I didn't do, I would look back on for the rest of my life
Okay.
and be like, what if?
Yep.
And that would make me bitter and not a good partner, not a good dad, or
Mm,
that's what I've convinced myself of. And
yep.
so when I decided that I was going to pursue comedy like a professional, I quit drinking and
Mm,
quit smoking and like started working out and
mm,
becoming organized. And then I kept working my real estate job as basically a part-time job,
yep.
even though she'd been doing all the administration for our real estate company.
Mm,
And so I was like, I'll do all of that and I'll quit drinking, I'll quit smoking. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to like
nice.
really focus on this and pursue it like a professional career.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't think you can do it.
She's the first outer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But dude, no, she wasn't. And she was right because she's like, prove it. And so
Oh.
basically I had to prove it.
Yeah.
And I spent like, several years proving it
Wow.
successfully though. And
Hmm.
then during COVID, is when like I put out my album, and
Yeah.
I had this idea to market myself as a skateboarder.
Okay.
And you know, I was skating really well because I was like healthy and sober and everything like that. So it all just kind of started working out, and started being able to tour and sell tickets, and I had fans.
Uh-huh.
And so, you know, she believed in it because I was like doing it. And then I got a job as the talent director for the Seattle comedy competition.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been like booking that comedy contest for the last 4 or 5 years, and teaching
Okay.
these comedy classes and stuff. So I built like a somewhat stable career as a comedian,
Yeah.
you know, without having to have like a day job for the last several years. And so that's why she was like, didn't divorce me.
Well, okay. So going back to living with your parents, like, how did you?
Now, yeah, now you're really interested because you're like, how am I going to get out of my
Yeah,
parents'
dude.
house?
Like, how am I gonna get out? I'm projecting over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, how did you do it?
Can you marry a very smart, business-savvy Brazilian lady?
Jeez.
Because that really helped me out.
Okay. Okay.
um,
My partner is doing a PhD at UW,
oh
so
no, oh yeah. You guys are
oh,
young
no.
though too. No kids either, right?
No kids yet.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the time where you can like really buckle down
Okay.
and build from the ground level.
Yeah.
And I'll say like the healthiest part about this, obviously, like you got to get to the other side for this part to be able to romanticize this.
Yeah.
Because when I look back on when Karina and I were like living at my parents' house with my son, it was like the best years of my life.
Really?
Yeah, they were just like, because we got down to such a base level of what we actually need to be happy, like
Wow.
that we forever after are just like so, you know, just so grateful, just like, you know,
Mm.
just absolutely. I'm just trying to figure out what word I'm trying to say. Like, we project gratitude like
Oh, okay.
nonstop because we're like, my son used to sleep in a drawer. Like we lived at my parents' house in a swamp for, you know, for several years as adults, you know, in our 30s.
Yeah.
So now we own a house, and we, you know, get to record podcasts at cool cafes and stuff like that. So we've just come a long ways since, you know, we were living at my parents' house. So I always, if you're at that level now,
Yep.
you know, just try to find happiness, because if you can find it in these like, you know, shallow pits of despair, then then
Yes.
you'll definitely be able to find it when you're on the other side of it. Because if you kind of are like, once I get this, I'll be happy, and if I can
Yeah.
finally move out of my parents' house, I'll be happy, and if I can get that Lamborghini, I'll finally be happy. Like it never ends. So know where your ground level is, and so that you're always grateful.
Wow. Well, yeah. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like, where do we go from here? Like, uh,
Well, where so you're
well, wait, can we talk about gratitude a little bit?
sure, yeah, I'd love
So,
to.
so, like, how did you find that, like, joy in that pit of despair when it comes to, w- when it comes to like establishing yourself and making a living out of art? Like, what were the things that you were saying to yourself and like to your partner to like really push through and and make it?
Mostly lies. I mean, so much of this is just delusion, you know? It's um
That's so good.
it really is like you got that's why I tell people all the time. It's just like you just have to like want it so
Yeah.
bad. You know, it's why we push through doing administration all day, so that
Yeah.
like when you get to that thing that you want, which is playing piano in the middle
Hmm.
of the cafe that you started, you're like, oh, I actually like this part. And that part has to be, you have to like it so much that you're
Hmm.
willing to like let your son sleep in a drawer for however long, you know, till you actually uh, get to pay bills with it. But you
Yeah.
have to also kind of accept that you might not. Like,
Yeah.
you just might not. Like, and you have to be like okay with that as much as you want it. You know, like I want it so bad that even if I never get out of like where I am right now,
Uh huh.
that's all right.
to the hopeful viewers out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how much you gotta like really enjoy it. I tell that to my friends who've been open micing. I still go to open mics, you know, like even if you want to make money and they might not be headlining, but they work, they do spots, they get booked,
Yeah.
they open for people, you know what I mean? They host shows here and there. And like, I know a lot of people who've been doing comedy for 10 years. I'm sure you know a million jazz musicians with day jobs who are
Yeah.
amazing musicians, as talented as anybody, plenty of people who have livings, right?
Right.
And everyone wants to break through. I just want to make my living at this, pay my health insurance and, my rent and have, maybe go on a vacation every now and then, but all from like playing jazz or doing
Yeah.
stand up or making paintings or whatever. And, what I'm just telling you guys, like once you get onto that other side, it's not fun. It's almost more fun to have a day job and just do it for the love of it, because once it has to start paying bills, it's a lot harder to enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's what, I guess we started this talking about gratitude, but that's why you got to have gratitude for, for all of even just being able to get on stage at all and have fun and have like a couple of friends that want to do it with you sometimes. Like that's more than really, like most people don't have any creative outlet at all, let alone a gig to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, the love has to be extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. It feels like a calling. My number one advice when people want to start, I don't know if you feel like this about jazz, is I go, no, don't quit. Like, don't do it. Like, kind of, some of that is because if all it took was some bozo on a podcast to tell you to quit, to get you to quit, then you definitely weren't going to keep doing it for very long.
For sure.
Because the audience will tell you to quit a lot.
Yep.
And often.
Yep. I think just to end that segment, it's like a distinctly American thing to just have blind trust for yourself and just say like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go. I don't care what other people say. I truly believe in this thing that I'm going to do. And like people kind of like catch that, like, yeah, you're gonna do it. And then like that kind of becomes a reality. And I think that's
but it doesn't though. So that is true for the outliers who it's true for, but what you don't see is the hundreds of corpses in the wakes of that one outlier who that was true for. Of the people who were also looking in the mirror when they got home and being like, you're gonna make it, buddy, you just gotta believe in yourself. And they don't make it, you know what I mean? They like eventually quit, or they just keep doing it out of sheer delusion, which is that point you're a psychopath. Like if you're like failing actively for that long, then something's wrong, or you just love it that much. And I think that's what I'm trying to instill in more people, is that like, if you love it that much, then fine, just keep doing it, but don't convince yourself that like, one of these days I'm going to be a millionaire from this. Like, it doesn't happen. If you're like the top 1% of people barely make a living wage, and they're the best guys at this. And I think that's really true in music and comedy and art in general. It's like the top guys, and then the top 1% of them are like, successful and wealthy. And then a lot of those people doesn't last forever either, and then they end up getting some sort of weird corporate job or something afterwards. So I don't know. You can't predict what's going to happen to you. So you better enjoy it and be grateful for what you got, because like, up or down, it's rough out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
thanks for having me, dude. Sorry, I feel like I was kind of all over the place with a lot of this,
man.
but hopefully you got what you were looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of this interview.
Well, I just wanted to connect with you and tell people about you, and
support art in Everett, live entertainment in Everett, jazz or comedy.
For sure. It's
worthwhile, and it gives all of us weird psychos something to live for.
Don't listen to anything that Taylor has to say when it comes to the despair of art. and making it a reality. But
I make it sound very dark and hopeful at the same time, right?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The sliver of hope.
I get, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
What should people expect or like look forward to with the work that you do?
I'm very excited to record another hour of stand up in October at the Comedy Lounge in
Nice.
Denver. That's going to be really awesome
Hmm.
with a Special Thing Records, which I just signed a record deal with. So that's
Wow.
really cool. And that comes out hopefully later this year. And go check out my other two specials. They're both online on YouTube,
Yeah.
Addictive Tickle and Dad's Hero. I'm very proud of both of those.
Hmm.
I also am starting a comedy magazine called the Pacific Northwest Comedy Rag,
Mm.
which is going to be an annual publication that's just going to feature comedy information and news and content from all over the Pacific Northwest, Vancouver, Oregon, and Washington.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you, Taylor.
Thank you very much. You're the man.
Boom.
Good luck with everything, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was fun.
Super cool. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had fun too.
Yeah.